Again! We're doing it again, y'all. We're gonna do it from my phone because maybe the connection's better. So there you go. Cancel. Oh yeah, look at that. Amanda is here. Destiny's here. Sarah's here, and there you go. And she's coming. She's joining us. It's very exciting.
Hello.
Amanda!
We did it.
I'm dropping my phone now. This is kind of ridiculous. Yeah. So for people who are just joining us, I have to do my talk show for my van because I had to drop off one of my kids in the city because his family was ready to receive him, and I did not want him taking public transit. So I am in the middle of the city right now in my van. Have not left my van since I left my house because I'm being super safe.
Good work.
And I have a mask just in case. But I felt it was a little bit safer to drive him to the city than it would be to, you know what I mean? To be like, here, take public transit home.
Right?
Don't touch your face. Jesus loves you.
As I touch my face.
Yeah. I touch my face all the time, but I also wash my hands all the time, so maybe it's okay. Because I'm always like,
good job.
So
Amanda,
welcome.
Hi.
Style and Substance. How are you doing?
I'm doing as well as someone who's been quarantined for like 14 days can be.
Oh my God. 14 days?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
we were sick on the last Friday before my kids' spring break. And so I was just like, you know what? Coronavirus, we're just going to stay home.
So I have a rule, like no one can say coronavirus now without me thinking of
the Rona.
They have to say it. They have to say, well, the Rona, but also, you know, see Cardi B's rant, coronavirus.
I actually haven't seen it yet.
Everyone needs to look up Cardi B's coronavirus rant, and there's a whole remix, and it is kind of amazing, and I love it. All right. I got a question for you. You got to tell me one of three things. One or all three. It doesn't matter. I need to know your Enneagram number, your Hogwarts house, or your Myers-Briggs.
Okay. So Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENFJ/P.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. And Enneagram, I'm a 2-wing 3.
Okay. You don't know your Hogwarts house?
I haven't read the books. I got through the first part of book 2 and I just lost interest. So
no.
I know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is that a technical difficulty? Is this cut short now? No, I'm just teasing. Yeah.
I have nothing against Harry Potter, and I'm sure when my kids get interested in them, we will read them.
Yeah,
but
and you can talk to Auntie Marcia because I will.
Of course.
I will help you out.
Of course.
Awesome. So so what is the 2? What is that?
The 2 is the helper or the befriender.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You're on the Enneagram podcast. I heard you there. So, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, how like, as a 2, how are you holding up during this whole coronavirus?
Yeah. I am really, really pissed at people who are not staying home to help other people.
Right?
Yeah. The reason that we have stayed home was I'm pretty sure we would make it through just fine. But I have 4 little kids and they're big snot drains, right? Just constantly. Yeah. And my parents and my grandmother are really high risk. Mom had ARDS about 10 years ago, and that puts her at really extreme risk. So we haven't seen them besides through our patio. They've sat out here on the patio while we've been inside.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they brought Lysol and sprayed down the chairs. And
honestly, that's awesome.
So, but I just heard that our mayor's about to put in a shelter-in-place order starting at 1 p.m. So,
yes, Illinois has that right now. Like, we have a shelter. That's why I am just in my car. I didn't walk out. I'm not trying to get arrested for not sheltering in place.
Yes. So.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, but so my 2 wing is like, y'all are idiots. Like, idiot's not the right word. Y'all are selfish.
No, that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they can be selfish idiots.
That's true. The 2 in me says
that's
really
selfish is
selfish.
an adjective. Idiot is a noun. So
true.
You are describing the noun.
And my ENFP, like extrovert, right? And my parents came and talked to us through the window last night, and I was like surprised at how much my heart was refreshed by that, even though we've been talking to them on video chat, but like being in person was nice.
Really quick, my friend Mel, she just wrote there COVIDiots. I just love it. That's kind of amazing.
I love it.
And I love that so much right now. So yeah, I know you don't have a lot of time because you've got to scoot. So I want to tell people, like, what do you do? Like, what, like tell people about you and your platform and how you're using that to get through this, through that Rona.
Yeah, that Rona. So can you think of a 3-letter word that starts with F that describes me?
Fun.
That's, yes. What about another one?
I know where you're going with this. And it's hard for me to say that word. Do you know that?
It is. No, I get it. And that's why people want to say fun. So I'm fat, and I use, thank y'all, fly. I like fly.
I like fly, right? That's Mel again. Look at that.
I am fat, and that is a morally neutral word. It's an emotionally charged word, but it is morally neutral because fat people, it's okay to be fat, and it's not a moral failure. So I talk to people about the goodness of their bodies today. So sometimes I call that your today body. And my handle, fab. I like fab too.
Oh, right? These are some good ones. All true.
Yes. And nice alliterations for me to add to my list of descriptors. Fat, fab, and fly.
Yes.
I help people talk about their fears about getting fat. I mean, we're seeing that a lot right now with people quarantined, and they're like, I'm going to get so fat while I'm, quarantined. And we're seeing that, people aren't so much afraid of getting in a virus that's going to kill them. People are afraid of getting fat. And
I am not, because I'm quite large, so I'm set. Like, we're okay.
Well, I am thankful to have another Catholic voice willing to talk about it, because Catholics are really shy about talking about fatness. I wrote a piece for America Magazine, the Jesuit Review, for Ash Wednesday about Lent and diet culture, and how when a lot of us, and me included, think that Lent is a time to kickstart our diet, right?
Yeah.
But I have an eating disorder, and a lot of us do. I think
I did for a long time too.
Yeah. And I think the ways that we're taught to eat in America, like all the different diets, are actually disordered eating, recipes for eating disorders. So when we look at Lent as a way to start a diet, then when we fail that diet, we feel religious guilt, moral guilt on top of physical guilt or shame. And so the purpose of Lent is to bring freedom from oppression and to feed the poor. And Isaiah 58 talks a lot about that. And so just encouraging Catholics, hey, don't use Lent as a start to your diet. How about not even doing food stuff during Lent? Because food is morally neutral, right? There's no good food. There's no bad food. There's just food. So talk a lot about that in the Catholic sphere. But apart from that, like, I'm happy. I'm fat and I'm happy. And we don't see that a lot represented in our culture. Thankfully, with things like Shrill on Hulu, we're seeing, right? Her storyline is not just about losing weight. It's not about being fat. It's about just being fat. The scripture, I think, so I'm seeing a couple comments coming across.
Right.
Isaiah 58 is the chapter on fasting. That the true fast that God desires is to bring freedom for the oppressed. And then if you've given up something like Dunkin' Donuts, I would ask, how is that helping you to love your neighbor better? Marcia and I got connected through something called the Rua Storytellers podcast. She was one of our storytellers, and I wept when I
Oh.
edited her story. I'm the story editor and co-founder. But she, like, we've been doing stories, and our theme for Lent for the Real Life Storyteller podcast is neighbor, like loving my neighbor as myself. Yeah, and giving up donuts doesn't really direct my heart more towards my neighbor, right? Unless I was eating donuts soaked in like the blood of innocent chihuahuas or something.
But that doesn't
like,
even sound tasty. I mean,
right?
Just saying.
You know, so excuse me, I'm gonna cough.
Oh no!
I don't think you can get corona through the
Yeah,
through Instagram Live. So I know, sorry. But I also have a book out. It's called Lovely: How I Learned to Embrace the Body God Gave Me. And you can get it on Kindle, so you don't even have to leave your house.
Look at that.
It's also at Barnes & Noble. I know, right?
But don't go to Barnes & Noble right now. Stay inside.
Right, you can order on Barnes & Noble. And I run a group on Facebook called All Bodies Are Good Bodies. And we talk about the reality of living in a fat body. Like, life is a little harder because I live in a fat body. But that's not my fault, right? Diets are designed to fail because they're money makers. 95% of diets fail, and that's not me failing at my diet. It's the diet that's structured to fail. And so why am I being punished for being fat? For example, going to a restaurant that has chairs with arms, sometimes I can't fit. That's it's an accessibility issue, and it's not just for fat people, but it becomes an accessibility question. If you think that you're fat, I like to give the fat test, the chair test, which is, do you have to worry about where you sit when you go into a restaurant, right? Are the tables too close for you together for you to get by without bumping someone's stuff off of their table? So really talking about it from a justice aspect. You know, we're told, hey, you need to eat fresh foods, do the Whole30, blah, blah, blah. That's really a classist thing. Because think about the price of fresh foods compared to packaged goods, right?
They're a lot. They cost so much.
Yeah, it's so much more. And when, like, for me, struggling to feed a family of 6 on a teacher's salary, like, I don't have the luxury to just eat, you know, the Whole30 all the time. And people that live in food deserts that can't get access to fresh foods. So we can't.
You're right. It's true.
Yeah. So also there's a lot of stigmatization about being fat, like lazy, being unkempt, and
unhealthy. And that's not true. That's not true at all. I'm an incredibly healthy person. I work out 5 days a week. Like, my body's not going to change anytime soon. That's where we are. So no.
Yeah, and so what the science backs us up. But dieting is actually long-term a lot more harmful than just staying in your today body. And so learning to embrace that today, looking in the mirror. I mean, a lot of us are doing Zoom calls, right? So we're all like seeing every like unflattering angle.
Yes. Right. It's very hard for me
having
not to like just adjust this. So I'm like, yes, hello.
Selfie angle all the time.
Right.
Like, hi. And then your arm falls off and you're like, where is Moses' assistant right now? Like, help me hold up my arms. So the biggest thing that I want people to know through my advocacy is that I'm on Instagram at Your Body Is Good and on Twitter at Amanda M. Beck. Is that my body isn't created for thinness. The purpose of my body is not health even. The purpose of my body is relationship with God and with my neighbor and with myself. And I can do that no matter what size my body is.
Amen.
And no matter my abilities, right?
Right.
To say that we owe other people health or that we owe other people thinness, it, as a Catholic, goes against the value of the most vulnerable, right? People who are chronically ill, disabled, the poor who don't have access to the kind of food that a wealthier American would have. And so at the base of it, I have to recognize that, yes, I live in a fat body, and yes, there are limitations placed on my fat body by my culture in seating and clothing and medical access. But the purpose of my body is not to get smaller. The purpose of my body is to have a relationship with God and with my neighbor as myself today. So,
okay. Amen. Oh, I love that. Yes. I just want to oh goodness, I saw some comments. I'm like scooting my thing down. So Sarah said, why are salads more expensive than burgers at McDonald's? Like the same thing you were saying. She's like, they're not much better, but it's the principle of the matter. And then New Wave Feminists, shout out to New Wave Feminists. Society teaches women to hate their bodies as girls, and it makes it makes young women incredibly vulnerable to sexual exploitation because in turn they don't feel they deserve real love. And
it starts
real.
in elementary school or preschool. Like it starts with things like school nutrition programs, teaching people that there's good food and bad food, right? And it starts in kindergarten, calling other girls on the playground fat and it's not that these little girls are like, oh, I see a fat body and it's ugly. They say, what am I hearing my mom say about her body?
Yes.
What is my grandfather saying to my mom about her body?
All the time. Yeah. I tell people all the time, I say, listen, your daughters hear what you say, right? I heard what my mom said about her body, and my mom wasn't fat, right? So I internalized that. And my mother heard what her mother heard and things like that. It's like we really have to watch how we talk about our bodies around our daughters. So I was going to ask you, you have a daughter, correct?
I have 3.
Yes. So as a mother of a daughter, what are some things that you do to teach your daughter? Like, especially in this time, we have so much time with our families right now.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, like people are more worried about getting fat than they are about this respiratory disease disorder. So what is something that you do to make sure that your daughters live in their good bodies?
Number 1 is my kids have access to food. For me, that was a huge thing. I was put on diets as far back as I can remember. The problem is that biologically we're driven to eat when we feel deprived. And so when we say we're giving up sugar or we're giving up chocolate, like our brains say, oh, there's a famine. I need to eat as much of that whenever I see it. And so first of all, food is morally neutral. Body size is morally neutral. Yes, we have times when the kitchen is opened or closed just because they would just stand in front of the pantry and eat all day because they're bored. And I'm not saying that's not a real thing, but they can have seconds. They can have thirds. We're really teaching them, hey, listen to your body. And then my kids ask me about my body. Mommy, why is your belly so big? Mommy, you're fat. And I have to admit, it took a little while to get used to them using the word fat towards me. I'd been using it for myself for a long time, but to hear it from someone else was...
Okay, so wait 1 second. I don't know what... There's someone on here, Jagtar7513. I'm going to need you to please leave our thing. Like, I don't know who you are or what you're trying to say, but it's time for you to go. Please don't make those comments. Thank you. Anyway, keep going. Say what you were saying.
Yes. Okay. I wasn't even paying attention. So.
No, I'm just looking at like, I don't know who you are. Please no, thank you. Okay.
Right. So when body comments come up, like, Mommy, why are you so fat? I say, well, because that's the way my body is. Look at all the trees around. Are any trees the same size and shape? No, flowers look all different. Body diversity is real. Not everybody has the same size body, and that's a good thing. And then also we say, like, I say, is it okay to be fat? Is it bad that I'm fat? And just ask them genuine questions, like, why are you asking? Like, not getting offended, whether they're asking me or they're asking someone else. Mommy, why is that person going to have a baby when you know that they're not? Well, why do you say that? Oh, is it because her belly's big? Well, mommy's belly's big. Am I having another baby? No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what do we say about bodies? We have this back and forth. What do we say about bodies? And my kids say, all bodies are good bodies.
Okay.
So it's like this family liturgy we have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's okay to be fat. It's okay to have any kind of body. But all bodies are good bodies. And the purpose of our body is relationship, not perfection, not thinness, and not even health.
Mm-hmm.
Because people in any size, shape, ability, body with any level of health can have relationships with God and with their neighbor and with themselves.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Before you scoot, I need to know, what is bringing you joy, and have you had your Corona cry just yet? I know, like I've had one like every day, I think. But
I haven't cried yet.
Okay.
But we live across the street from a Catholic parish that has bells. I don't know if y'all just heard them in the background, but so we're keeping time by the church bells, which is really special to me, and especially now. So, and making me happy is having a yard. I know so many people living in cities don't have a yard, and they have kids cooped up. So I'm really thankful for that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much. People can follow you at your_body_is_good. Yes.
They can also just type in your body is good. And
okay. Okay. I was like, there are a lot of underscores. I tell people all the time, and I go, I need to put underscores. So, and your book, Lovely, is available on Kindle. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, people can find you that way. And you also do good body coaching, correct?
I do body image coaching. You can go to goodbodycoach.com and it'll take you to my website.
That is so great. Seriously, Amanda, we could talk forever, I feel like.
I love it. Let's do it.
Right?
Except that I have to go, but
I know you have to go. So thank you so much for spending this time with us.
It's a pleasure.
Maybe you might have to come back on again, because I feel like there's so many other things that we might need you to say.
I am here.
I'm going to be here. I really like.
I'm not busy.
I really like doing a talk show. So.
Okay.
No, it's wonderful to talk with you. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see each other on the interwebs. Okay.
Sounds good. Bye, Marcia.
Okay. Wasn't that a really great conversation? Like, seriously, let me know if you love that conversation. I feel like I could have more of that conversation, which makes it really sad that we had technical difficulties in the beginning of the broadcast. So I know we've gone a little bit over time. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today and all your comments and your interest. Make sure to follow Amanda at Your Body Is Good on Instagram, and then Amanda M. Beck on Twitter. And if you seriously, don't be afraid to gain a few pounds during this pandemic. That is okay, right? Weight comes on, weight goes off. It's real. It happens. I'm a woman who's had a kid, so I know that that's the reality of life. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. And I hope you guys have a great day. Join us tomorrow. I have it on my paper, but I can't remember who our guest is tomorrow, but I will let you guys know in enough time. And tell your friends about this daily talk show, and I'm going to be posting it in my Instagram feed. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.